Good evening everyone, this is Dale Hunter and today I will be talking more about sites. Actually, this is going to be my first tutorial kind of video regarding Planetside 2. So here in this screen you see air vehicle terminal. When we go to it we see two air vehicles, Scythe and a Liberator. These are non-transport issue combat air vehicles. Scythe is more of a fighter, Liberator is more of a bomber. But currently we are going to be focusing this video on Scythes. So when you first start with a Scythe, you will get a view like this as default setup. Now what you have here as secondary weapon loadout is external fuel tanks. This is coming as default to you, and you can replace this with a weapon for in the future when you unlock it with certificates or Araxium or whatever, with real money also. Anyhow, so I just unlocked a couple of things for this site, so I'm gonna put these things on and let's take it there. Site is currently costing 150 aerospace resources. This is could change. The value could change, the resource name could change, but yeah, you spend resources to get these crafts. So when you spawn one of these fighters, you start at one of the air vehicle spawn terminals, which are these guys, I guess. Yes, they are. Anyhow, let's check the map a little bit. We don't want to get surprised. So, basic movements. When you start with a Scythe, you will be stationary. Pressing space is activating the vertical thrusters, which is specifically the ones under your Scythe that are pushing your Scythe upwards. And same as opposite, control is pushing your Scythe down. You can use A and D for turning your Scythe left and right, and W for increasing your speed, and S for decreasing your speed. Additional to that, you have an afterburner comes as a default. You can increase it later on, and you should be, actually it's a little bit glitched out I believe. Second, let me just land and get back into this site again. There you go. The afterburner bar you see there represents how much fuel you have in your afterburner. With the tanks installed, the two little bottles you see under the site, you will have more fuel. What happens is that when you press shift, you use your afterburner to gain extra thrust. This still locks your site on a preset maximum speed, which you can increase by certificates, which I will come to it soon. Basically, it's for immediate escapes or catching up. It's completely up to you to when you want to use it. And another thing, on the interface you see like 000/000 that represent your secondary weapon, which since I don't have any, instead I have these fuel pods. What happens is that it will display as 000. It can change. Something more visual could come up saying fuel tank attached or something like that, but currently you don't get a weapon there as default. What happens is that when you replace a weapon, you can use your scroll wheel or key number 2 to switch to it. Of course you can attach different keys to it. I'm talking about the default key bindings, where you can just switch between weapons like as if you are an infantry switching from your primary to secondary. Now, this uh, side movements may come as very alien-y to you. Surely it's not like this in many other games. Actually, perhaps the closest one I can recall is from Battlefield 2142. But yeah, it actually provides you with quite a many options for flying low or doing different maneuvers depending on your taste of flying. But once you get used to it, it's pretty much easy to handle. You can do lots of stunts and so on without sweating a brain. What you call it? I have no idea. Of course, there's occasional bumps and so on. Anyhow, moving on. So some of the maneuvers you can do with the Scythe are, of course, besides moving back and forth and turning around, is the side movements, which you can do like flipping your fighter a little bit on the side and activating your vertical thrusters. This will send your Scythe on a what you call left and right scroll type of movement that you can use to, in conjunction with your maneuvering thrusters, you can use to orbit around places, check out what's around this tree, like if you are chasing someone around the tree, or you can basically use it to make a more faster turns. While the exact statistics on how fast you can turn and so on are different for every faction, this rule of thumb applies for every craft, every flying craft at least. Okay, since I given quite a lot of information about maneuvers, I will go about market and certificates. Now, for Scythe you get one default weapon, and you got 4 others you can unlock. You can go through it by clicking on the market button, vehicle weapons, and from there you can go for Scythe. Now, we already unlocked this one, and we have 4 other options. Now, I will go over the guns. These 3 guns, including the one you unlocked, are your primary weapons, which you activate by 1. They replace one another. These 2, being the anti-air missile and dumbfire rockets, are going to replace your fuel tank. That comes as default. To do this, you go to your fittings and you can press your secondary. Here will be your dumbfire and anti-air if you purchase them with whatever is at the time resource you want to use, and the same as here, you will get the other default main guns. I'm gonna a little bit explain you about what kind of things they are. Air to air, you don't carry much ammo of this type, but if you are going to be like a hardcore fighter pilot who's focusing completely on taking out other fighters preferably, this is your weapon, I would say, I would guess. I mean, I never used it. I mean, I used it once and I didn't like it very much. It's not my style of gameplay. But yeah, going for the other secondary weapon is the dumbfire rockets, which are okay. I mean, I would gladly replace them instead of the fuel pods. You can just you have to rely on your own aim while firing this. And as for main guns, this is the one that you defaultly get. The light PPA is the, like, you can call it the anti-infantry weapon. That most of the members in our outfit are kind of using that one. Whoa, what just happened? Okay, I'm fine with that. Yeah, the game is right now on beta. Shit happens. Anyhow, the light PPA is mostly as I recall, is
This area is
anti-infantry.
restricted.
But it has a rather low rate of fire, and in fact, it's as a bullet, it has a blast radius, so it should be good for making area strikes. Of course, very localized, given that it's not a very big area effect. Let me go back. Yeah. And Hailstorm Turbo, I used it. I didn't like it. Very low rate of fire. The bullets are rather slow, very much fall drop. I mean, and maybe they changed it. I don't know. I mean, be careful when you select this. And the default gun is okay. I mean, I will probably use the default gun as my primary gun, given that it's giving a decent range and damage. I mean, you want speed. If you want speed, this gun is good, and it kind of carries a lot of ammo compared to the other guns. I'm checking up to see if there's any NC around. I mean, you might never know, they are the trolls of the galaxy. Yes, so is the TR, but never mind. Moving on. So that was the weapons for the Scythe. Actually, we can go a little bit of the vehicle customization also. Now, if you are flying really low, you might go for the forest camo. I mean, why not? Or for something like white, if you are flying in the sky. And it's kind of, I mean, if I would get a smiley face. I mean, last thing my enemy wants to I want them to die happy. Die with a smile on your face. I'm not thinking of putting on this kind of fins and razors. I think they are just going to increase my hit areas. Oh look, more places I can get hit from. But still, there is implant for decreasing the Scythe respawn rate, which can be good. Okay, moving on to certificates. As for Scythe, you get 3, of which you can just switch around, and a passive system, which is just including timer. Utility is for team play purposes mostly, such as, we go over it. You can have scout radar, which I would recommend you to have it if you are going to be providing close air supports to infantry. But of course, ground units should have their own scout radar. I mean, you shouldn't be forced to carry one. Then again, you can carry scout radar for spotting and tracking other fighters, which would come in handy in a dogfight situation. Decoy flares are, well, they are against the anti-air missiles, of course, from ground and from air. The different levels will just decrease the time you have to wait for it to recharge. Scout radar is going to increase its range to 200 from 100. Ejection system is for those people that go, you don't kill me, I kill me kind of situations, where they don't want to give you the satisfaction of the kill. The little kids tactics. Oh yeah, you didn't kill me. Oh, I killed myself. But yeah, I mean, something I will never unlock, definitely. And 480, I mean, just that should be a punishment for the whatever. I shouldn't curse. Fire suppression system, as I haven't used it, but the different ranks decrease the time you have to wait to use it again, but I would imagine it a little bit repairs your sight. I mean, maybe, and removes some of the performance effects of having a low health brings. Currently, when you have a red flashing health bar left, you are like working with decreased vehicle performance. So that's it from the utility slot. Utility slot comes to your leftmost tab in your fighter fitting screen. Moving on to the what do we have? Defensive, yes. Composite armor. This decreases the time. Oh, sorry. Decreases the damage you get from small arms and flak. I would definitely recommend it, given that it just makes you a more sturdy fighter pilot. It's able to get more pounding and stay in the battlefield longer before you have to go back for repairs, or like if you are in a dogfight of 3 versus 1 situation where you just need the additional health to get around, especially if there's a AA trying to get a pin shot at you. Nanite auto repair system, I would say it's good for people who don't fly as engineers and people who don't want to risk landing in the middle of battle. What will it do is that it will repair your Scythe in time. After a certain amount of time that passes you without getting damage, it will start to kick in. Well, I'm probably not going to use it, given that I often land and repair it myself. I also would imagine people who fly as light assault would be using this one, given that they can tend to be bailers. Well, technically they wouldn't be waiting for auto repair, they would just bail out, so I don't think they would use this one either. They would, however, use the ejection system. That's another story. Stealth removes you from the minimap. It can come in handy, especially if you're standing stationary and somebody is trying to relay your position to his squad mates. Also, it will decrease the time it takes for anti-air missiles to lock onto you. At most 1 second. But this used with conjunction with decoy flares with maximum, so that you can use it once in 15 seconds, can be very effective against fighting off enemy anti-air missiles. So performance slots are, we have 6 of them: top speed, vertical thrust, turn rate, roll rate, brake power. Anyhow, starting from top, of course top speed should be rather obvious. It increases your top speed. The more you invest on it, the more you will gain in speed. However, I wouldn't be recommending it much, given that you don't really need that much. It doesn't give that much increase. So I would say it at most gives like 16 km per hour increase to your 300 km per hour speed. So it's not that much. Vertical thrust, as you can see from the image, is... I'm gonna sneeze. No, I didn't. We'll change the speed at which your sight gains and loses altitude, like with control and space keys. Now, this would be handy if you are like a high maneuvering pilot like me. I often use the side movements to like get a good shot at the enemy. But other than that, you can actually use this in conjunction with a trick. For instance, for increasing your forward speed. When you are moving forward, once you reach your top speed, you won't be able to go faster. But you can tilt your sight a little bit down and activate your vertical thrust, which will give you an additional push to forward. As you can see, I'm moving rather forward while still aiming down. This is because I activated my vertical thrusters. Of course, you can combine this with the afterburner and you will get just a more boost. Combine it with the certificates and you will get even more boost. But yeah, this is what I will use instead of the maximum top speed. So you don't have to do that. Of course, everybody has their own game plan. Please do not try to copy other plans. Come up with your own, and it will just, I think, make it more personal to you and motivate you to invest more time on finding your best game style. Oh, in case you're wondering, this little 3 tube thing in my back is the flares. I can just activate it by X, like it just puts out a bunch of flares. I mean, that's the animation of using the flares. You have to wait as it's displayed on the top right screen near the afterburner. Other than that, I'm gonna be a little bit talking about how the Scythe maneuvers. Now, the first thing you will see is that in any aircraft is that you cannot directly go forward. You used to be able to do that, but they fucked it up and put this stupid thing where you have to, like, even if you press W, you don't go forward. You go up first till 5 meters, then you could start to go forward. I think they added this because a lot of people were like road killing their friendlies while trying to take off. Like they would go, oh, I think I'm gonna take off now, and a bunch of people gets road killed. And of course, this uncontrolled movement is also providing very difficulties flying in close spaces, like inside the M stations, which I used to be able to love to do. Like I would just go in there, fly around and land even, and then just take off, which I'm not able to do anymore, because if I stop I have to get this 5 meter upwards take off before I can move on, which is not possible inside a closed area like that. Some neat tricks, like when you are flying upside down, the control becomes the up key and the up key becomes the down. So yeah, this is a trick for when you want to fly the Scythe upside down. It is useful in the circumstances where you are flying over a place, like let me fly over this tower, and you are just looking up. Of course the camera is a little bit glitchy right now, they have to fix it. Like, yeah, it's a pain in the ass to use it. Or another thing you can use to scout around places is that you just, while passing by, you just tilt your sight a little bit on the side and using, oh god, I hate this new camera settings. Yeah. The developers really cannot understand the difference between the reason why people use inverted flight controls. I mean, they don't want inverted flight controls while controlling the camera. They want the flight controls to be inverted to be more realistic to like a real plane controller. And like that's what I do. For instance, I have the settings on inverted vertical fly and not inverted vertical look, which is meaning that if I pull the mouse backwards, the sight will look up. If I point it downwards, if I pull it forward, the sight will just... What the fuck is this guy? New voice. Anyhow, yeah, that's called vertical look. On a side note, let's say you have got damage, yes, like I did. You can just find an empty ground, land your sight there, keep in mind the 5 meter issue, and you can just start repairing. It's very easy like that. One way you can like avoid the 5 meter rule, the 5 meter, oh, okay, that went bad, is that if you like while starting to fly, you can press Control to try to force your altitude to decrease, like I will do now. So this will allow you to like a little bit gain speed if you are under a roof that is less than 5 meters from the ground. Otherwise you will get stuck. So. I guess I can talk about how to chase someone. So when you are chasing someone, you can always like turn around. Sometimes these kind of maneuvers are going to help you get your bearings on the target. Like if you are doing more comfortable aiming with this kind of position, I sometimes do that. But yeah, it's all up to you. As flight controls, when you're flying, you might also want to, like, if you want to increase the speed at which you turn, you have to like use the space, and you can even use the A and D together to make a more steep turn. Of course, the experimentation of this is depending on you and your comfort level on how fast you want to turn and what kind of style are you going to follow when you want to turn. For instance, in my previous video I often ended up turning like this, to warp gate for instance. Why not? Anyhow, thank you for watching this basic fighter tutorial video. I hope it was educational, and as for some of the questions I get, I'm using a keyboard and a mouse. I'm not going to share my... oh, fucking idiots. People are not smart sometimes. I mean, I used to think BS members are a little bit smarter than the average, but yeah, kids who see that better players are in this faction are also switching, and well, not everybody is getting the memo. But yeah, as a keyboard I'm using a Logitech G19. I'm very happy with the keyboard. It has an extra display, you can put timers on it, and especially if you are waiting for a vehicle, I'm not sure you would be bothering to do that, but yeah, you can do stuff like that. But as keyboard wise, flying the Scythe, it doesn't really make much difference, given that you are mostly using the mouse. As mouse, I'm using the Logitech. Yes, I am a fan of Logitech, even my headset is Logitech. I'm using a Logitech G700, which is goes by the name of an MMO mouse. I'm happy with it. I'm not gonna share the sensitivity settings and so on. I mean, you don't have my hands, you don't need to use my exact settings to be anything new. But I'm not sure what you are thinking of being. But yeah, play the game, discover your own style, enjoy most of it. Most importantly, join a good outfit. If you are around Europe, you are welcome to apply to That Watch Gaming. I'm currently inside that outfit. We have pretty good people. It's a professional gaming outfit, at least as far as I've seen. There are really good players there, and a very nice team play going on often. Of course, it's all up to you. You can freelance with a site, you can also team up with your friends and be a squad. Get a wingman, make some tactics, go on to TeamSpeak. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm gonna include some bonus videos, given that something interesting might be nice. I had a video where I made 5 roadkills with one flyby. Yeah, I mean, of course one can do more, but 5 is enough. Anyhow, one thing I will show you as extra. You can just deconstruct the site. It will... I'm not really sure if it's correct, but when you deconstruct, it just decreases your timer on it. It is good, but I would prefer to have my resources back. But no, it's all up to you. So here is something bonusy. How to fly a galaxy upside down. I mean, here's something you haven't seen before. Now for something completely different. Upside down galaxy. Yep. Altitude control check. Yep. We are gaining altitude. 600 meters should be okay. And I reached 700. I'm gonna tilt it back down to see where I'm going. Yep, I see enough. Yeah. This may look like a little bit glitching, but what I'm doing is I'm keeping the galaxy at a certain angle and using the control to basically move the galaxy down. But since I'm upside down, well, the new up is down. I'm being chased by a Scythe. Let's give him a little air show. Anyhow, this was, well, one more bonus clip, and I'm gonna call it for the night. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.
No, discriminate them. They're worthless.
They're there.
I'm trying to get as much as road as I can.
Friendly?